Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the Sun in conjunct Jupiter in a natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the aspects in a natal chart. So they were a little bit concise, and some people may refer to them as snappy. So what I decided to do was make another series on them in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up, well, as far as this aspect goes, inconjuncts in astrology can often be about adjustments. So there may be an adjustment between the basic wants, which is the sun, and what you have that exuberance and enthusiasm for, which is Jupiter. One or the other may be overemphasized. If you have, say Jupiter is in Taurus, there may be some exuberance and enthusiasm. It could be for geology or agriculture. It could be something with art or music, um, gardening, cultivation, banking, finance, things of that nature, carpet laying. Even if you're in that profession, you may have more of an enthusiasm for it than most. And the thing is also about this aspect, you have, there could be an imbalance, between that conscious side, which is the sun, and the more humorous, jocular side, which is Jupiter. One or the other may be expressed, more emphasized than the other at times, or that there may be some strong vacillation of that energy. It could be something where you may emphasize, accentuate, your sun sign or your conscious side often, and not allow yourself to express the more jovial, more jocular, humorous side. Going back to Taurus, if Jupiter is in Taurus as an example, it may be a kind of body humor. Um, if Jupiter's in Aries, it could be very very outspoken, direct, kind of humor. Sagittarius, Jupiter in Sagittarius may be humor that's sports related. Jupiter in Capricorn could be more like political satire. So there is a thing where you can find the balance and equilibrium with these energies. Now, another thing about Sun in conjunct Jupiter natal chart, there can be too much or too little focus, which is the Sun. It could be on sports, outdoor activities, athletics in general, which is Jupiter. If Jupiter is in Gemini, say, you know, those sports, related activities could be ones that are, ones that involve quick reactions, such as, badminton or racquetball or handball, ping pong, as some examples. If Jupiter, is the zodiac sign Cancer, it can be ones, more like, with swimming or rafting, as some examples. It could be ones that are nostalgic as well for the person. Now, another thing about this aspect, how it may manifest in the chart, it could be that the higher education, which is Jupiter, may have, distorted the kind of effect on one's ego, which is the sun. It could either be where the person may be really strongly impacted for the better or for the worse. And it might be where, a higher education, your college studies, whatever you're doing, as far as post high school studies, there are, they may, have a more, bigger effect than what is needed on one's ego. There can be, could be a situation where the person is very dependent on what they do from a college vantage point, higher education vantage point, to have the ego needs met, or vice versa. And let's say if Jupiter is in Leo as an example, it could be where the higher education courses may be associated. It could be the military or sports or some kind of creative arts or something associated with acting or entertainment. If Jupiter is in Virgo, it may be something associated with health and fitness, statistics, analytics, as some other examples, data entry. And the thing is, you know, another way this aspect may pan out in natal chart, it could be that in-laws and foreigners, which is Jupiter, may have too much or too little involvement in your life, which is the sun. If the sun is in Aquarius, say, it may be a life you have, which is, a lot of, where you express a lot of altruism, selflessness, humanitarianism, life where maybe you express some innovation, sun in Aries, can be pioneering, and maybe, that life in which, you express, a lot of leadership prowess and ability, initiative, enterprise, and, say if, Jupiter is in Libra, these in-laws and foreigners, they may be people, that either have a Libra sun, moon, or ascendant, or simply embody the characteristics of the sign. People that are very, charming, diplomatic, tactful, cooperative, compromising, refined, peaceful, equitable, as some examples. And another thing about, the sun in conjunct Jupiter in natal chart could also be where you have the biological father and dominant males, which is the sun, really may, there may be an imbalance, in activities, with those people. And again, the in-laws and foreigners, which is Jupiter, you may either emphasize, those people, one of those people, more than the other. You may emphasize in-laws and foreigners more than the biological father and dominant males in your life, and or vice versa. And again, we go back to, finding, the equilibrium, the balance between those people. And also, too, this aspect may give, greater than average propensity to have, physical related issues, which is the sun, with the liver, the sciatic nerve, the thighs, the hips, or the pancreas, which is Jupiter. And I think a lot of this, too, this aspect can be just the general expression of exuberance and enthusiasm. Might be too much or too little that is naturally expressed by the person. You might be someone that is very, over optimistic, over enthusiastic in matters in general at times. Then there may be times where the person might just be very, much more, stolid and stoic, and not really express, really much exuberance whatsoever. And I would say too, as far as how this aspect may manifest in a natal chart, the sun in conjunct Jupiter, you might find, where the person may vacillate again between, just generally being, like, supremely overly optimistic one moment, and then maybe exceptionally, pessimistic and negative, the next. And what, person can physically do, which is the sun. The sun does play a role, the physical body. The ascendant is really what, dominates, the appearance, the physical body, the vitality, but the sun does play a role in that as well. And, it could be also, too, where the person, may find themselves using, so much energy in one moment, being, also over optimistic again of what can be done physically, and then, it might be overly negative in those matters. So it's important to be careful, because, the inconjuncts can be, you could have, the exaggerated energy going one way or the other when you have, when you're talking about inconjuncts in a natal chart. And it's important, again, to stress and emphasize that it's important to find, the balance and the equilibrium between the energies. And also, to keep in mind, the sun is associated with our drive and motivation. So there may be, times be too much or too little drive and motivation associated with Jupiter related things, whether it could be, publishing, advertising, expanding horizons, foreign travel, higher education, matters with in-laws, you know, grandchildren, importing and exporting, sports, outdoor activities, as some examples. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.